We've all been there. It's 2 a.m., you just finished the last page of your book, closed the cover, and now you're wrecked. Or elated, shocked, frustrated, distraught, or maybe a combination of so many emotions you can't put a name to what you're feeling.
But there's an ache in your chest, and all you want to do is turn to someone who knows what you just went through, who you can talk about that favorite scene with, swap theories about the sequel, gush over the hottie your main character landed.
You might try to explain it to your significant other, suggest the book to a colleague, or swap a couple surface-level thoughts with a friend who read it years ago. But there's no one who truly gets it. No one who will tear each moment apart with you, put it all back together, and start the next great read by your side. But what if we told you that now there's someone who will?
I'm Brooke.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Elena.
And we're the High Ladies of the Book Court. Let's read your next favorite book together.
Hi, everyone. Today we're discussing The Assassin's Blade. So, there will be spoilers from the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series. So, if you have not read up to Air of Fire, proceed with caution. We opted to read Assassin's Blade before The Queen of Shadows. So, in Assassin's Blade, there's like 5 short stories. So let's start with the first one, which is The Assassin and the Pirate Lord. What did you guys think?
I have to say, before we talk specifically about this story, I just have to say, like, props to anyone who reads this book first. That's all I'm going to say.
I was very against it. I was like, what do you mean we're not immediately going into Queen of Shadows?
Right.
Well,
That's an Air of Fire.
that too, but I more meant props to whoever reads The Assassin's Blade as the first book on their Throne of Glass journey.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are
meant
like that will do that.
No. Yeah, I think that it would, I don't know if I would have been able to read the next book if I'd read this first. So props to those people. I'm glad I wasn't one of them. I will always suggest people read this book fourth. But yeah, I know, Elena, you were just saying like that, yeah, it was really hard to not go straight to Queen of Shadows, which I was also feeling a little bit when we were starting this book, but I am so glad we read them. Hands down worth it. Do not skip this book.
Yeah, I was like going about my day doing something random, and I looked down at my phone, and you and Jamie were in the group chat being like, okay, we all agree to go to the Assassin's Blade. And I was like, what? We all agree on what now?
Making decisions.
But it was the right choice. It was a good choice. It's a good book. I was just tentative, knowing like very little about the book outside of that it would be sad.
Yeah, I know. You weren't ready to hit pause on the series.
Yeah.
To go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's hard. I know for me, like, I wanted to immediately go to Queen of Shadows to be like, okay, how many more books is it going to take Rowan and Aelin to admit that they even like each other a little bit, other than friends?
Yeah.
Oh, God, don't tell me that. But like, so that was hard. But then also, I mean, we know in the first book that she is with Sam before she ends up in Endovier and that he dies. So like I think we all knew where this book was going, and I wasn't excited to see that. So
yeah. And like with every book where like I think there's going to be a death, I was like, I am not going to get invested in this relationship. Like Sam is a person I don't care about. We don't know him. I don't care about him. I will not care about him. And like the book just forces you to care about him. You can't read it and not be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys knew how. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think we just knew that this person was very important to Celaena, but we just don't know like the details of their relationship and how they came to be or what exactly happened to him. So just like keeping an open mind when we read The Assassin's Blade. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. In all of the little short stories.
I'm just wondering how many times in this hour-long taping Elena's going to start crying.
So sad, guys. I was on a plane and was just sobbing on the plane.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I did it to myself. I knew what was gonna happen when I got to the last story. Like, although it did come up quicker in the last. Okay, we're not on the last story yet, though. But
I was gonna say that, Jamie, you were saying that one of the nice things is, we know what's gonna happen, but it is really nice to see Celaena in these pre-stories, like just her, but then also how she and Sam fall in love and what their relationship is like. And I think that's really what the first story is about. Because it was immediately apparent to me when Celaena is put in a situation where she has to make a decision between doing her job as Adarlan's assassin and like Arabin's heir and following his instructions to basically set up this slave trade agreement with the Pirate King and him, or do what she knows to be morally correct and try to help the slaves. Like when she makes that decision and Sam makes it with her and like just as vehemently and emotionally as she does, I was like, I get it. I get why this was your human at this point, and it is sad.
yeah, and I feel like in this story, she like there's a large chunk of time where she's like, I don't want Sam to know what I'm doing. I don't know if he'll support me. Like, I don't want him like messing up like my plans. Which, and then when he does find out just how supportive and like on board he is, which I feel like it's partially because he agrees with her and just partially because he's like, I would follow Celaena anywhere.
Yeah, but there are those scenes where he gets really upset about the slavery. And like you can tell that he also knows in his core that it's right. And I was like, all right, this is why the two of you work.
Yeah. I feel like that's the biggest takeaway. Oh, sorry, what?
No, I was just saying that and like they grew up together in the worst circumstances.
Yeah, and they were enemies at first too.
Yeah. Which is super
I
funny.
didn't realize that
Oh,
going
love
in.
Enemies to lovers trope.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like going in, like if you read the first three books and then this book, it's set up as like her and Sam grew up together, and like you don't realize that they necessarily started as enemies. So that was also kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everything we hear about Sam as Celena's like looking back on it from the first three books is like, yeah, he was like my lover and my best friend. And you don't get that that part of the story where like in the beginning of the first story, they're joking about like if he's gonna try to kill her in the middle of the night to like take her place as the heir. Like, oh my goodness, this is so cutthroat. Maybe you two should just like go on a date and make out instead.
It gets there.
It does. It does. It does.
But yeah, I feel like the first story, like what you get is like seeing them go from that place of dislike to like bonding and just enjoying that, and that's the biggest thing. And the only other thing is like I feel like Rolf's got to come back, right? Like they mentioned the Pirate King vaguely in Heir of Fire that like he left those islands. I think. I mean, I don't have the exact passage, but I don't know.
They definitely do mention him and the area, so I would say that he probably does come back. And that is like I think one of my favorite parts of these stories that I wasn't expecting is that we meet all these cool side characters that I'm hoping and one I'm like 99.99% sure is coming back. And it's like neat to see these other characters that I didn't think I was going to be excited for in Queen of Shadows, and now I've got more to look forward to. But yeah, I think the Pirate King definitely comes back.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
the question is he going to be an enemy? Oh, sorry.
That's
I'm so bad.
that's a good question. And Celaena has like that bargain or deal with him, so she needs to check up
Yeah.
him on that and make
Yeah.
sure he's in his lane,
Yeah.
following the deal.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, are they like when he comes back, is he going to be helpful in like taking down the King of Adarlan, or like is he still going to be like enemy villain? like, what's his mindset going to be towards Celaena and the cause at hand? I don't know.
I would have to assume that if he doesn't have a current trade agreement with the King of Adarlan, that he would be fine with him being ousted. Be my guess, especially if it meant him supporting Aelin and then potentially having like a trade agreement or like a good relationship with the Queen of Terrasen.
Yeah. And I know I've said this about a lot of characters, but I think they make him redeemable.
I could see
You think he's redeemable?
I do. I could see it.
Let me write this down.
I could see the Pirate King Rolf being redeemable because it seemed like it wasn't that he thought slavery was a good thing or was like super pro slavery. It was more just like, this is the best way to make money and I do believe in that, so I'm gonna do this. So I think that he
Yeah.
could be convinced to be a good person.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think his entire outlook was like, yes, what I'm doing is bad, but I'm gonna do it. But I feel a little guilty. Like,
Yeah.
there was a little guilt there. And, like, him saying he tries to keep families together and trying to minimize the pain he was causing with his actions, but so he's not like 100% evil, so maybe he could come around to be like, thanks for making me stop. Now I was able to make money doing this other better ethical thing.
Yeah. Also his hands that have the magical map on them, that stopped working when magic was shut down. Theoretically, magic is coming back, right? That's sort of one of our like themes coming up, that we're hoping that magic is going to come back. So eventually his magic, I know where everything is in the oceans, hands should be usable again. And I'm excited for that to potentially happen, and then for him to be an asset to Aelin in that way.
Wait, so can he find anything in the ocean? Like, if something was thrown in the ocean, would he be able to find that?
You mean like
Or is it just like he can navigate the ocean?
if we put him in a different book series potentially to go try to find a Bach? Or are you talking about something else?
I also immediately thought that.
I was thinking, like, if for some reason, like, Kale's sword is important after he, like, yeeted it into the ocean.
Yeah, no. So I think the way that it describes it is that he has the basically like the continents, like the whole map of Aurelia is on his hands and his arms, I think, and that it somehow guided him to be able to, like, I think, avoid storms and like know where to go in the ocean.
Yeah, no, I was not thinking of crossover because I just don't think crossover is going to be it.
Right, crossover is definitely not a thing. I'm not going to add that idea that I just had to my crossover notes.
Why do you have a whole notebook dedicated to crossover?
I mean,
it's
virtual, but yes. Yes, I do. Just going to add it just real quick.
Interesting.
Right,
Okay.
any other thoughts about the assassin and the pirate lord?
It becomes very clear at the end to me that Celaena has feelings for Sam when she's panicking that he is dead.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And I think that it's a hard transition because you go from them working as a team to them going back to Erebin, and you don't know what's going to happen to them. And then we get to the second story and it's nothing good. Yay!
Yes. So what do you guys think of the second story? The assassin and the healer.
I mean,
How do we feel about Irene?
I love Irene. And Irene is one of the characters that I think has to come back. I'm like 75% sure on her.
Reason for Celaena to like fund her healer journey for us not to like find out how that her healer journey, right? I mean, maybe there is, but
no, we're missing a healer in our Throne of Glass D&D party, so I think that is where she's going to come in. She's theoretically gotten all of her healer training, and I think that she's got to be brought in to the Throne of Glass Avengers team to hopefully heal wounds or take collars off necks. I don't know what what the extent of her powers will be, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah, she's
really like
awesome.
Irene, and I hope we see her again. See what became of at the end. Like, does she go back to, or does she leave that place? I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names right now.
I
Does
don't
she leave that
know.
place? Or she just to that other
That
place
shitty
where she
town.
learns more about healing and being a healer?
Yeah.
That terrible town, which remains
Yeah, I
nameless
think
because
the
it
place
doesn't
that she
deserve
was
a
sent to,
name.
like Cosmeter, I think.
Don't you worry. I'm gonna figure out what it's called.
Oh, you're talking about where she's going to learn healing, not the shitty
Yeah,
town that
where
she found her in.
well, a little bit of both. Like, this is the bad place that she left, and this is where she's heading to now.
The town was
Yeah.
called Inish.
Ish. Yeah, I forget the name of the school that she's going to, but I
Yeah,
think she does. I think she goes.
yeah.
Oh, it's
I don't
Esme.
remember her journey.
What is it, Celaena?
CES. Uh, Torre Sesme. Her training at
Mm,
the Torre Sesme,
Oh,
the
I
Great
had
Academy of Healers and Physicians.
yeah.
yep, I think that's where she's headed. Um, yeah, I really liked her. I loved her and Selena's relationship. Their like brief relationship where,
Yes.
she's sort of like watching Celaena in the corner of the pub doing her thing and wondering just how dangerous she is. And Celaena saves her from the big bad guys that try to jump her in an alley. Um, I also really liked that Celaena actually killed people in this story.
The story. Yeah.
Because as like the most fearsome assassin in all of Aderlon, in the first three stories, she doesn't kill that many people, really. So I was glad when she was just like, I have littered this alleyway with bodies. I was like, that's what I've been waiting for. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you're going to take much away from the story other than the fact that she has to come back. It's probably going to be a badass because like the rest of it is just like this is a town nobody cares about. These are characters nobody cares about. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the first two stories do a really good job of setting up Selena's character, which again, like I really enjoy seeing after the first three books. Like I enjoy looking back and seeing how much growing she's already done. Like from
Mhm.
this like
For sure.
super
Yeah.
cocky, like young teenager.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like I felt like these stories does a better job of making it more believable that she is like this powerful, all great assassin. And
Mhm.
though, like, yes, this is the short stories, and she still makes mistakes. It's still believable. Whereas in Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, like it's just almost she's almost like too good or too perfect. It's like really, how can a 17-year-old be able to do all this? And you kind of see it in Assassin's Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see how much she went through to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't think that we would have questioned her abilities as much if we had started with this book. I think that
Yeah,
would have
no,
been like the
not at all.
biggest gain. Would have been like, oh yeah, she's very powerful. Like, Kale, you should be slamming her face into the ground, and Dorian, you should be a lot more worried. Like, she kills people.
No,
For
we still don't
sure.
condone Kale slamming her face into the ground.
Was it really KL? Because I went to check and I thought the way that it was written, I thought it was like it was another guy that did it,
Oh,
not KL.
have I been
We've been blaming
slandering
Kale.
Kale this whole time?
I'm
Kale,
pretty
I'm
sure
kind of sorry.
I read that it was like it wasn't KL, it was like another character.
Oh, maybe.
I have to double check. I'm not like 100% positive.
I don't have the book on me right now. I'll have to double check too.
I have the ebook. Let me check.
I would almost feel bad, except he still kind of deserves it.
Yeah.
Okay.
KL, but he's still like, fiercely loyal, and that's part of his downfall or
Yeah.
weakness.
And I've forgiven him mostly because I understand him trying to protect Dorian from the most fearsome assassin in all of Ireland. Like, I get
Right.
it.
Yeah. I do like
Oh,
that you
it
got
wasn't Kale. It was some random guard with like a mustache and a red face.
Hale,
Ah,
I'm so sorry.
That like slams her face into the ground to make her bow.
yes,
I
yeah.
totally thought it was him the whole time. All right. All right. Okay. Kale is 0.01% better than he was 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, Gail.
I don't know why I'm
Lost track
pointing
of
to the sky
everything that
like
was
he's dead.
happening.
What?
Oh, I just lost track of what you guys had moved on to talking about because I was very into trying to figure out whether or not we were.
Well, is there any other last thoughts about the assassin and the healer story? I will say I did like that it wasn't like a destination type short story where like this is where she has to be. It's more of like she's passing through on her way to the desert and like this is just a short story about like her the events that taken place as she's as she's on her way there. It's
Yeah,
a
I
really
think
cool character.
I think the only other thing to note is that Irene definitely has magic. Like she's not just someone who is good who wants to be a healer. Like her mom was killed because she was magically healing people, and Irene definitely knows that she has that inside of her as well. So again, excited for magic to come back for people to be extra cool. But yeah, I really liked how she could sense that that small cut that Celaena got would get infected and kill her. Like there was something where she was like, I need to clean that. And Celaena was like, no, I'm good. And she was like, no, I need to clean that. And it was like, okay, great. Thank you for saving my life. But
Yeah, I really like her. I hope we see her again.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what man deserves her. I haven't decided yet. But I do know
Let me
a
know
very
so I can write
sad
it
boy with a
down.
collar who likes healers.
He has a thing for you.
A sad boy with a collar that has a healer kink.
Yes. His name is Dorian. TBD.
Oh, I think I did write this down. Okay, cool.
Oh, this is already a theory. I just like Jamie being like, maybe we'll see her in the future. I hope we see her in the future. Having fully read the future books, like knowing whether or not we see her.
Maybe we will.
I know. All right, moving on. The assassin in the desert. All right, so in this story, Celaena finally makes it to the desert where she trains under the mute assassin. And there she meets a new character, Ansel. Thoughts?
That's a big bucket, Elena. You want to go first?
My like very first immediate thought was just thinking back on like I finished it first, so I knew like where the story was gonna go. And Brooke hadn't read it yet, and she kept being like, "Ansel seems great. I'm so glad she has a girlfriend. I'm so glad. Like it's so nice seeing her bond with a girl." And I kept being like, "Don't say anything. Don't
I
spoil
also
it."
thought that.
Yeah. But I did get really suspicious when she went to that meeting with the king and like wouldn't let Celaena go in with her and then was like 15 minutes late and just like real squirrely. She was very squirrely.
Yeah.
But they did steal the Asterian horses together, which would seem fun.
I've been waiting for that scene for multiple books, so I was really
they alluded to it. I forget which book, but it just seemed like a really fun story. So
yeah, Brooke, you did get more suspicious before I like picking up on the fact that she was kind of suspicious in that scene where she wouldn't let. I just figured the assassins didn't want her to go with her into the building. I don't know, Jamie, if you also thought that or if you were suspicious, and I was just
no, I'm too gullible for that type of thing.
Yeah, like I believe this.
I only like picked up on it when because I was really digging her relationship with Mikhail. And I was like, oh, another cute couple. Like, let me start highlighting all the cute moments. And then there was one line that like kind of irked me the wrong way because it's not mutual. at least on her end, like she was pretending. And I was like, oh, oh, and then we continue on, and then I was like, okay, let me go back and delete all my highlights because they don't matter anymore.
Mikhail's super dead.
He's super dead.
Super murdered.
Super killed him.
Yeah, it's not even like he died just in the invasion. She helped plan. Like she just like straight up like eat
Yeah.
him.
Like, damn.
Yeah, no. I wasn't suspicious until like Celaena was kicked out of the castle and just like going back being like, he told me he didn't want me anymore, Tier. And I was like, bro, are you gonna check? Like, you don't want to check?
I actually have to say that was the part that I didn't get suspicious at. I thought that this was how they were packing her off. Like, making it so that she couldn't do any like last minute stealing of secrets, or like I felt like this was the blindfolded to get out of the like place where you're not supposed to know where it's located kind of thing. And I thought when she opened the letter from the mute master that it was going to like say something about, how she was really great and like is better than Arabin, or I thought I was going in that direction, and then when it was blank I was like, wait, what? I was confused.
I think it's suspicious because they had like her and Ansel had that huge fight, and then Ansel's like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna poison you for the mute master." It's like, I don't know. It just seemed too fast of a resolution.
I was going with the flow. But I am really glad that Celaena rode back. And then all this craziness just like erupted.
Yeah,
But it was all Ansel's idea. And
yeah, I thought it was just like bad timing. I thought they were packing her off to go home early, and that she just happened to see like the next attack and realize that they had really like gathered a significant force and was going back to save them. But it wasn't until they like got back I was like, oh no, like this is Ansel, and that was sad. I was still hoping that it wasn't until she got to the room where she had killed Mikhail and tried to kill what is his name? The mute master's son.
And
What
yeah,
is it?
Ilias, right? Am I
Yes.
saying that right?
I think so. I think it's Elias.
I thought he was cute, but I didn't want to get too attached either.
Yeah.
Like, do we trust him? I don't know.
I had a minute during that hallway scene where I really wanted them to make out. And then I was like, wait a minute, Brooke, we don't even want her to be with Sam. Never mind this guy. There is another man that's coming. Why are you getting excited? And then I was like, maybe just a little baby makeout scene. That might be nice. But
What's really cute is that this whole story, she doesn't know if Sam is alive or not, but she is continuously thinking about him. This whole story. And I was like, oh, you do care about him.
she's like, I can't make out with the assassin prince because I got another guy at home, I think.
another assassin prince.
Yeah.
And what did you guys think about the fact that Celaena let Ansel live?
Time and time again in this series of short stories, Celaena is showing us how she is a better person than all of us combined, and how she will make an amazing ruler, which I have to assume is where we're going with this. And she just understands mercy, understands making mistakes, and like gets that things are gray. Like few things are black and white.
I also thought it was really well written where you find out first that she missed, and then like the sentence after that is that she waited and would have hit her. So you're like, oh, she just missed it. Like 20 minutes was enough, and then you're like, oh no, she like very strategically let her go.
I think it's also hurtful too, is that she saw Ansel as like a first real friend, but then to be betrayed. And then even then, like she still saw some goodness in her because Ansel had her whole family killed. And all Ansel wanted was like revenge. But then Celaena just giving her a chance to like try to be a better person. And
hot take. Did Ansel betray her really though? If she sent her away before she betrayed the rest of the mute assassins. So other than lying to her about having to leave, I feel like all her actions were very singularly against the rest of the assassins, which is a betrayal, I guess, of Celaena at that point, because she's kind of used them as more of a family than the assassins back in Richtold. Not that she would admit it, I don't think. But I think from Ansel's perspective, she might not have betrayed Celaena herself.
I think it's still a betrayal. I mean, it's definitely a betrayal in that, she lied, obviously. But it's even, if you think about it, if Celaena hadn't thought through it and had ended up back in Adarlan with a blank letter, the things that could have happened to her could have been awful. Or maybe better than what actually happened. But anyway, she did risk that for Celaena.
Yeah, that's the way I saw it too.
She was being very selfish.
Yeah.
Probably.
And since I think we're all fairly certain that Ansel is now the queen that has been alluded to, that has taken over the wastes, which is where Ansel's home was. We went back and reread a small section from Heir of Fire.
We did, yes.
It sounds like Ansel does go back and oust the man who killed her whole family and took her seat and has now taken over the wastes in the stead of the witches. Which to me means that we might have a Manon Ansel showdown, which I'm definitely pumped for.
Okay, good for Ansel, but we're pumped for this girl fight.
Yeah. And also I think that it means that Ansel is definitely going to come back up in Aelin's future. I think probably in Queen of Shadows, if not the next book. So
yeah,
we're gonna see if she regrets letting her live.
Right. Maybe I'm not sure for Aelin, but definitely for Manon, because it was in Manon's chapter where she finds out that there's this queen out there. And I remember Manon saying something like, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna kill her," or something like that.
Yeah.
Manon and Ansel could be a fun couple. A strong power woman couple.
They could, yes.
Manon is about to try to kill her, and then Ansel gets the upper hand and is like, wait, maybe you could marry me and we'll both be queen. And then Manon's like, as long as my dragon can live in the living room.
I don't love it. I literally just pulled up the screenshot of when it describes her, and it's literally just because she has red hair.
Red hair, yeah.
That's our entire theory.
Well, I mean, Ansel does talk about how her parents' seat of power was in the wastes, and it just seems like that's probably where we're going. That's my guess.
I know. I just felt like should make reference to what exactly in the past, and it's just that she has red hair. To be clear, whatever.
But doesn't it also say that? Don't they mention that she unseated the man in power there? Yeah, so we've got two.
Yeah.
There was a mortal High King who had set himself up there, but there was a whisper recently that he'd been deposed by a young woman with wine red hair who now calls herself the queen.
I mean, I will take full responsibility for this crazy theory. Nobody else has to go down with me.
It's 100% true. There's no question.
Gotta be.
Everyone is on board, but
yeah,
hypothetically, the theory's based on hair color right now, but it's 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta be Ansel, right?
It has to be.
Only one capable with red hair, a woman that could unseat a mortal man.
Yep.
With her assassin skills.
This is also the story where we meet the merchant with the spider silk, right?
Yeah.
I'm literally just asking because that's the second thing on this screenshot. It both comes up the same.
Man with spider silk. Yeah.
Yeah, so we find out that he's this 40-year-old looking merchant who sells outrageous amounts of spider silk, which is very, very hard to obtain, and it costs a lot. And Celaena runs into him, and I forget what he shares, but we later learn that he actually made a deal with the spiders in exchange for 20 years of his youth. He gets the spider silk. So he's really like a 20-year-old-ish. And I forget where we learned this, but he's a shifter.
I totally missed this.
You missed this?
Totally.
No, you did not. Is this part of
Missed
your
it.
theory that you're refusing to talk about?
No.
So, Brooke, this is what Celaena was doing when Ansel was in talking with the whoever.
Oh, no. I didn't miss the scene. I missed the part where he's a shifter. I don't know, like, where it says it or how you guys figured that out, but had no idea.
Oh, wasn't it?
I don't think it says it in the short story. I think it says it in the screenshot because it says in the screenshot that there's a shifter. Yeah.
The spider. Oh, right. So the spider talking to Manon shares the story about a merchant and how they made a deal and he took 20 years out of this person's life and he's a shifter.
Wait,
Yeah.
from Heir of Fire.
From Heir of Fire, yes. When Manon
I just lost my
spiders to get some spider silk for Abraxas.
I filed away the queen that came back to the waste, but I did not file away the random story about a shifter.
Yeah, it's literally on the
we
second
find
half
out that there are shifters in this world.
And other worlds.
Well, duh, like, Rowan, my bad.
Let me pull up my crossover notes.
Yeah, just to like confirm, like, so the screenshot that I am looking at that we like were sharing was Manon, like Jamie said, Manon talking to it, and then the spider says, "The merchant himself from there, a former shapeshifter, lost his gifts just like all you truly mortal things. He was stuck in a man's body, but he did not realize when he sold me 20 years of his life, some of his gifts passed to me. I can't use them, but I wonder what it would be like to see the world through your pretty eyes, to touch." Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think the spider wanted Manon's youth too, but then like she lives pretty much forever, so it's not really a good trade-off, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it doesn't say he's a shifter, but you know he's the merchant in the story because he had all the like it just matches up.
Yeah, we gotta see him again, right?
That's
There's
awesome.
gotta be.
Definitely.
Well, and then it also leaves open the theory because Manon pushes the spider down a cliff or something. But so did she kill the spider? And are we gonna see the merchant as like a young hottie, or is the spider still alive and Celaena's gonna have to like finish her deal and go to the spiders and kill this spider in the process?
Yeah, I remember reading that scene and just being like, it's not really clear that the spider is dead. Just that they're trapped in the water or something, which doesn't always mean that they're dead.
Yeah. Per Brooks rules, if there's not a body, they're not dead.
It's a good rule.
I will say I'm usually a show me the body person before I will believe somebody is dead. But in this case, I do think that it would be cool if just all of a sudden the merchant is like younger and can like shape shift into a leopard or something. And we're like, oh, I guess the spider died. Cool.
Yeah, well, not even that, but like maybe not get his years back, but if eventually if the magic returns, he'll be able to shift.
Right.
Until what? For what purpose? What, like, we already have a shapeshifter in our Avengers squad, so then what's this merchant?
We've got an airborne shapeshifter, but we could get a really fast land shapeshifter. We could get a sea shapeshifter. We need to build out the Avengers team to take over the king.
I love this.
Yeah, and then with building out the Avengers squad, the question is, are some of these characters that she trained with as an assassin for the mute assassins going to be like, is Ilias going to join the squad at some point?
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see him again too.
Yeah, my guess is that Dad has died at this point where we're at in the story, or like has abdicated maybe. And Ilias is running this group of assassins, and that they are like the backup army. And they're like, we are here, we love you, let's do this.
That would be so cute. And I think that's one thing we talked about, like not yet, but when we were reading it, just about how nice it was that these assassins really seemed more like a family and weren't as cutthroat as the Rifthold assassins. That like they were training together as like a
They were
bonded.
there's so much respect between them, and and I'm glad that Celaena could see both sides, that she could be the one to judge, like, and determine, like, oh, this is what an assassin's guild should be like.
Yeah.
She didn't learn the lesson Arabin wanted her to learn.
They don't beat the shit out of them.
Yeah. If
Speaking
only
of
we
which,
had actually learned our lesson.
speaking of which, like, were you guys surprised that the mute assassin, aka Dad Ilias, could actually speak and he's not really mute?
I wasn't.
No, I don't know. It seemed like one of those things where he could. I didn't necessarily know he would speak, but I don't think it was ever like deeply implied that he couldn't.
Yeah, I always assumed it was like a monk silence, not a physical silence, like a he could not speak.
Mhm.
But I liked that he talked because I like he said it. Sometimes it's important to use words, and I thought that was a moment where it really was, where he basically was like, "You're better than Arabin," like in many different ways, and that he wanted more for her, and then gave her the gold to buy her freedom, so she could have a better life. And unfortunately, it just didn't happen that way.
Yeah. And I feel like we jumped right into talking about Ansel, but we didn't talk about like Arabin beating the crap out of Celaena. I feel like that was the turning point for me where I was like, absolutely, like being like wanting to make money on slavery, like that was already like, I don't like you, gross, but like more definitively unredeemable when he beats the crap out of his like character.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, this
I
was
know.
supposed to be her punishment, that she trains under mute assassins, but then but before that, like, beating her up first, which is, I don't know, so over the top. Was it really necessary?
When you have
Um,
a problem with violence and uh, owning things, I don't know what word I'm looking for. He's very controlling. So yeah, that checks out. I know I told you guys, and I forgot to mention it here, but at the end of the first story, I was still wondering if the slave trade was actually something that Arabin was actively working toward, because there was like confusion from
Right.
Celaena and
Like, was it a
Sam.
test or was it
Yeah, because
real?
they
Yeah.
originally thought they were going to like kill him or like, exact retribution in some other way. And then the slave trade was like a total blindside. So I kept wondering if maybe the slave trade was set up as a way to test Celaena and Sam. And like
Right.
Arabin knew that they were too soft and like would act the way that they did. So I actually wasn't sure that he would be upset until we learned that he beat the shit out of her and made Sam watch. And then I was like, yeah, same, Elena. I was like, nope, it's definitely him. He's definitely the person that betrays her and kills Sam at the end. I am no longer conflicted. No questions here.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How many times did we all text each other, can Arabin die yet? Like, I hope Arabin is dead. Like, when does she kill him?
with like skull emojis and gravestone.
He was
Definitely
my
more than
death doom.
once. We also find out, like, in this, I think in this story, what, because so while unfortunately Arabin is like beating her, he had the other assassins hold Sam, and he says something out loud.
Is it in this one? I didn't know if it was in this one or the next one.
I
I don't remember when she remembered.
I think it's in the next one because doesn't Sam tell her what he said?
No, she
No, I
figures
think
it
she
out, like,
remembers.
yeah,
Mm.
she ends up
But for
remembering.
some reason, I thought she remembered in the next one because she's still mean to him when she gets back. And then she feels kind of bad when she remembers what he said.
She also doesn't, like, she can't handle her own emotions.
Which she still can't 4 books later. He's getting better. I'll give her that. Yeah. Yeah, she remembers then, yeah, at some point that he kept screaming, "I'll kill you," to Arabin.
Like,
Love
it's
him.
sweet.
I'm so like, if he's real dead, I'm gonna be so sad. I mean, I know he is real dead. There was a body, but like,
There, I love how there is a body, but you're still in denial.
So time to talk about the second to last story.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about the assassin in the underworld. We get introduced, right? We get introduced to Lysandra, another new character. What did you guys think about her? She's
Nope.
courtesan.
No. You know who she reminded me of? That girl who used to date Rowan, who we
Oh,
meet. Yeah.
Ramil or whatever.
Yeah, whatever her name was. I don't even want to remember. But yeah, that like piece of trash that used to date Rowan and was all like, "I'm beautiful and you should want me." I was just like, "Oh, I hate this."
yeah, I didn't love her. I didn't love how she kind of threw everything in Celaena's face. But like, I feel like you also have to remember she's super young too,
Yeah,
and
they're
in a
always
really terrible situation.
Yeah.
So
And
I
I
guess
do try, but I fail every time.
right. So like she's been in like a courtesan world since she was young. She had to do that bidding thing at 17 where like they bid off her virginity.
and Arabin buys it with
Arabin
Celaena's
buys
money, like the disgusting human he is.
But you know
Yeah.
what the worst part of that was for me was that when they were saying that he bid on her and he won her, I was thinking that Lysandra would finally be like, "Oh God, I don't want to do this anymore." But she was proud, guys. That's why I can't like her. She was just so pleased with herself and liked it, and I was just like, "How?"
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know.
Well, the whole situation is really gross.
And then like he keeps buying her, like he has like sole power over her for a really long time until he gets tired of her. And like I just feel like it's not going to end well for her based on how it goes for everyone else that surrounds Arabin. So I just kind of like, do I think she's kind of the worst? Yes. Like, is she not acting correctly? But like, do I feel a little bad for her? Also, yes.
Yeah, which is why Sam spends a lot of time with her to try to help her because his mom was also in the same situation, so he gets it. Unfortunately, I think we see Lysandra again, probably with Arabin, is my guess, or like in his orbit, when we go back to see him.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think that Sam is a good judge of character. At least I hope, because he does spend time with Lysandra, and he did mention that she's different when it's just like them two
That's true.
compared to
And
like when she has to be the courtesan um in front of everyone.
there was also a throwaway line where Sam was just like, but she just wants you to like her, Celaena. Like she just wants you to like look up to her, like how she kind of looks up to you. Or like she looks up to you, essentially being like she's just acting out towards you for your attention. Which I feel like could be interesting if she is with Arabin,
Yeah.
seeing how that dynamic plays out. Because also she had a friendship with Sam, right? And Arabin directly murdered Sam. So like if she's not 100% dumb, you would hope she would realize that eventually and be like, ew, this guy's icky, I hate him. Maybe I'm being too positive, like too.
These are all good theories.
There's so
What else happened in this story? Because I kind of forgot.
This is the one where Arabin's like, I have a present for you. I have so many presents for you. Let me buy your love. And then he's like,
yeah.
he's
Like,
like, but my biggest present to you is there's this guy that like wants to open slavery, like increase slavery and build a like his ex-wife is trying to stop him and like wants to kill him and he's icky
right,
and like surrounds himself with women and like is not a good person. So you kill him, like, that's my present. Like, you get to murder him, get a lot of money, stop slavery, because I know that's what you want. I realized it was bad. Slavery is bad, and I feel bad, so this is me showing my support for you. Which just read so, like... And I think, Brooke, you said you didn't believe it at all the entire time.
No, and I mean, it frustrates me that Celaena can't see through him for this whole book. But I also, again, like you're saying about Lysandra, I think it's important to remember that we have a lot of knowledge and we're also outside of the situation. So I understand that Celaena loves Arabin. He's the only like parent that she's ever had in her life.
Yeah.
He's a constant. She says like he's all that I've got, at least once in the book. So I get that it's hard for her, but no, the minute that his like wayward child came back and clearly wasn't like super happy to be back, and he gave her a way to help the slave trade, I knew it was the opposite. Like I knew that that's how it had to be going because I knew that like he is the evil guy. I wasn't questioning that anymore. So I was like, nope, this is the perfect way to punish her further is by making her part of helping the slave trade while she thinks she's doing the
Yeah.
opposite.
You started saying that super early on, just being like, absolutely not. And I feel like when I was reading it, I was like, this seems suspicious, but sure, I'll go along with it. Like, because they definitely do make it seem like whatever the guy's name is isn't a great guy, just like based on his other characterization. So I was like, maybe? I don't know. It seems weird, but I'll buy into it for now, which was wrong. And maybe that's what Celaena did. And I think that is what Celaena did, probably.
Well, that's what like irks me because once she found out the truth, she looked at the paperwork and saw the truth, I guess. She didn't really question it. Like she didn't go back to Arabin and be like or like confront him in any way.
Yeah.
I feel
In
like she
her,
stood
the only thing that I can say in her defense is that the papers, like, they didn't come right out and be like, we're the people trying to help the slaves. It was just like points on the map, which she thought were showing where the slave sympathizers were, which is what she was told the papers would be. But yeah, I mean, I was frustrated with her too. I was like, think one step further, because that was actually the piece, like the paperwork piece was when I was like, it's definitely the opposite. Because I was like, the sympathizers like paperwork makes no sense to me in reality. But what does make sense to me is these are locations of like basically the Underground Railroad and we're gonna get rid of it. And that's what it was. But I like she's a little girl, like she's a teenager that also has never been taught to question things. Like she is fed a job and she does a job. She's not thought to think critically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I do wish she had just like gone into the house, like done a little bit more sleuthing to see like where the guy like checked out to see if where what she was told these people's standpoints were actually their standpoints. But
It's hard because we're seeing
Mhm.
her when she's pretty dumb and doesn't think through things at all. And we kind of see that in the first book, in the second book, and she's definitely getting better. Like she's learned a lot of tough lessons, where you don't just leap into windows, you check what's inside the room first. But yeah,
yeah, I hope she gets her horse back. She best steal her horse back.
I was so sad about the horse. Selling the horse to that mean lady. Yeah, I hope that she gets the horse back too. Fingers.
There's also so in this one, she works with Sam a lot more. Like they're actually a team, they're partners. And I can't remember if in the later books, like the next two, if when we're going in order. I don't mean like Queen of Shadows and Empire of Storms. I mean like Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. She's always been like kind of solo. And I wonder if that's part of the reason why, because after Sam, she can't like trust people in in her plans.
I've got so many thoughts about how this relationship really fucked her up, honestly. I think in having like a partner as a job, but in having a partner in life. And I mean, like, this is kind of bridging into the next story, but the thing that I kept watching for that I wondered if this would be the case is that not once does she tell him that she loves him. And we have not once in now 4 books had her tell someone that she loves him. And I could go back and read through Crown of Midnight. I'm pretty sure she never says it. She definitely never says it to Dorian. I don't think she ever says it to Kaol either. But man, is it going to make that first time all that much better.
Maybe it's like a human only thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Please don't
Oh.
say I love you.
She'll say it eventually, and I think it's that she'll say it when it's right, and it's the right person. Because I think
Yeah.
Jamie, it was
Right person.
so I was gonna bring up like Jamie, you had a really good theory that like Celaena's soulmate is Sam, and that Aelin's soulmate is Rowan. But I think, and like, I love that. And I think that you're right in a way, but we also have to remember that they are the same person, and Celaena is made up. Like, she's not real. And I think we see, at least, I think part of why I didn't feel the same way about the last story that you guys did is because I kept seeing all of the problems with their relationship throughout the whole last story. And I was just like, honestly, you guys don't work. And it's because Selena's not real. And I was like, this is painful, but in a different way.
I think also because like you're influenced by what you've read so far.
Definitely.
Like had we read Assassin's Blade first, we would have
Oh.
known her potential love interest later on in life.
I would have been a mess. You guys wouldn't have been able to talk to me for days, but that wasn't how I read it. Thank God.
And we also have to remember, like, we know Celaena's true identity. She withdrew from being Aelin since she was like 8 and had to create this new identity, this new persona, because she didn't feel like she deserved to be Aelin after everything.
Yeah, Celaena was very real to her up until like a certain point in Heir of Fire.
Yeah. I still do believe that like Sam was perfect for Celaena. I think had she been given the chance, if he had lived, and sorry, Lena, that she would eventually been
They're
able
gonna be
to.
best friends. When he comes back and isn't really dead, they're just gonna be BFFs. Like, we keep talking about how all her friends betray her. Sam would never betray her. Sam is so loyal. Like, Nehemia betrayed her, Ansel betrayed her. But like, just think of a world where Sam's not dead, and then can be her best friend. Like, best friend ever.
Oh, Elena.
Is this the 3rd time you've cried in this taping?
I was just gonna say that, like, had he lived, I think eventually she would have told him the truth about her, like where she came from.
Yeah.
The only piece of truth that I think that he did get from her was that her home, where she came from, was from Terrason. Oh my god, did we talk about that? Where like she almost died in the sewers?
No, but she did.
I
Can we
think
talk
that
about
was
other things that happened in the sewers afterward also?
What else happened in the sewers?
That really cute makeout sesh?
that was in the sewers.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like some alleyway or something.
Like any good assassin couple, you make out in the sewer after you stake out the place.
Oh, that's too funny.
It was so cute.
Did they ever hook up? I feel like they didn't, right? Or did they?
They only made out, I think they hook up, but they definitely never had sex.
No, they said she wanted to wait.
Floated on a fire where what was it that Sorsha and Dorian were like, oh, we'll wait, and Brooke was like, she's dead.
No, right?
Immediate death.
The
I
minute
was literally doing it was literally
it was that last scene where they were like, are you ready? Are you ready? No, let's wait longer. I was like, now she's dead. Now she's super dead.
it happened again. They were like, let's wait.
Every single time it was like, no, let's live our whole lives together. I was like, guys, the time is ticking. Your whole lives together is 3 months. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, because we know, I think also because like we're reading it after Heir of Fire, we know that what happens to Sam. So every little moment between Sam and Elaine and Celaena, where he's like they're both like planning out their future together, just hurts my heart reading those scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it time to transition to the last story?
I'm sorry, I thought we already did.
I also thought we were.
We're in there. We're in there.
Transition. But yeah, guys, let's talk about the assassin and the empire, the very last.
Yeah. I think it's just important to state that the whole thing is frustrating because I know from the whole thing, like, again, just like I'm going to give you this job that's going to help you, like, help stop the slave trade. The minute it was like,
Oh no,
damn, am I not supposed to read it for the audio listeners? And then Celaena held up a bright pink sticky note that said Sam could still be alive, almost like not Penny's boat in Lost. And for those of you that don't get that reference,
I love that she's not like a fan of Brooke's body theory. Like, if there's no body, they could still be alive. But with this, there is a body. Like, they could still be alive.
So before we get to that, I just need to say that the thing that I think made it so that I did not have a sad emotional reaction to this story is because I was angry almost from the first page. And it's because it was so clear to me that when they were like, we have only enough money to pay the exorbitant fee to get out of the guild, almost to the exact penny. We need to take one more job that just randomly comes from a strange, mysterious location that's definitely Arabin.
Yeah.
And then Sam has the gall to go alpha hole on us, and he's like, I'm gonna kill the guy myself. I don't want any help. And I'm like, this is an awful plan. What?
I tried to write it backwards so it would come up, but then I didn't realize it was all.
Sam could still be alive.
Wait, turn it over because I think I read it the right way. Or your first note. Sorry.
Yeah, the first note was perfect.
Yeah, the first note was perfect. I can read that.
That one looks great.
It comes across backwards for me.
It's not backward.
Your settings that you're.
It's not backward for us.
Yeah, it's not backward for me.
We're gonna have to find out if it's backwards for our cameraman later when we relook at this. I guess even for the visual viewers, it says Sam could still be alive on Elena's sticky note.
Sorry for interrupting. You just held it over my face, but I just kept doing it bad.
How suspicious too was it that even Arobin said, "Oh, I wouldn't even go. I wouldn't even take this job."
Arobin wouldn't take the job.
Yeah, like this crime lord is the most dangerous, most powerful. I wouldn't take it.
We don't know who's giving us the job.
The thing that I kept thinking was like, who benefits the most from the most important crime lord getting taken out of Aderlon? I wonder. Yeah, it was frustrating, and I think it just made me angry. So instead of like being crushed sad at the end, I knew what was coming, and I was just upset because I saw all the many ways in which Celaena and Sam could have avoided it, and that made me angry. Even to the point where I will say, like, that end scene where he's trying to kill the guy and like it just like line after line after line of her being super worried about him, I still was upset. I was like, girl, I don't care what you agreed upon. If you think he is potentially getting tortured right now, why are you not storming that building? Why is this the one time that you were using common sense, air quotes? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that's when I started crying. Like, reading her just sitting there, I was like, girl, like, that he wouldn't just not come back. Like, ma'am, you know where he tortures people. Can you just, like, give it a little looky look, see if you hear screaming?
Yeah. That just didn't make sense to me. And like they agreed on a time. Time has passed. A lot of time has passed.
Too much time.
Like, how do you not
Sleep. My girl falls asleep.
Right.
And then it turns out to be a trap.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking.
Yeah. And then a body shows up at Arobin's place. And he goes to bring her there. but is like, oh no, you really shouldn't go look at the body. It might hurt you.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
So you guys ready?
Oh,
You
Yeah.
guys ready?
Yeah.
Because my theory is that the final member of the Avengers team is none other than Sam Cortland.
So you think
Because
he's alive?
he's not dead. There's no way.
But
I
there
think
was
he's
a
dead.
body.
There was a body. I have read now 3 or 4 times all of the descriptions of the body. Would you like me to read you a few key lines? Because
yeah,
I
mean,
I know this is blowing your mind, because usually if I see a body, they're dead. Like nobody questions Sorsha died. Head left body, definitely dead. But this body was killed off screen. And I will say that I pictured the end scene of Sam dying with Celaena there trying to save him, watching it happen. So that was the mental anguish I was ready for. But the one time she doesn't get involved allows us to let the body get mangled off screen.
okay. Wait, before you go through with all of your receipts, I want so badly for Sam to be alive. Just to be clear, like I want nothing more than Sam Cortland to still be alive. But I just don't see a world in which it, like, I hope your evidence proves it wrong. But like the reason I was so sad is because he seems dead to me. And like I think if he wasn't dead, it would be amazing. But at this point, it's like 3 years later. Like Sam wouldn't just like never speak to Celaena again if he was dead. Like why would he just go away and not talk to her? Like he wouldn't just ghost her like that.
Unless the final deal was that they don't kill her and they send her to a camp if he never makes it again.
But why would they keep him alive? Like what? How does it benefit them for him to be alive?
Because he's an asset, Elena, an asset that Arabin has put many, many years into. And if he can continue to use him the way that he wants to, while also making sure that he and Celaena stay apart, he can still be used. And all he has to do is threaten Celaena.
But
would you like to hear how the body is described?
But why wouldn't, if that was his theory, why wouldn't he just save Celaena and like at that point like make her think that he had nothing to do with it, and then Celena's the better assassin anyway, as opposed to giving up Celaena and taking Sam, who was second best.
Celena's too much of a liability. She's proven that she can't be controlled anymore, so he doesn't want her.
Sorry, Elena, go ahead.
Nothing. I was just gonna say I will listen, but I am still skeptical. But I want it to be true.
I was just gonna say I will entertain this theory. I wrote it down that you both think that Sam is still alive. Do you think it's like a similar situation with Celaena, where she's not really killing her assigned targets? She's offering them a way out and then finding bodies that are very similar in likeness of the original person. Do you think that's where we are with Sam? Like,
I just
do
don't
you
see
think that
Arabin's motivation
Celaena
for doing that.
or Celaena is like, she knows in her heart that this body is Sam?
I do think this theory could be interesting if Sam is alive, knowing that she's going back to the Assassins and Queen of Shadows and Rowan won't be there. Makes you think about who she could end up with.
Not gonna end up with Sam, because she's not actually Celaena anymore.
I mean, Brooke, what's the body description that we're stuff of?
It's the body description is less telling, but the way that they describe his face is the face she still knew, even when so many things had been done to destroy it beyond recognition. His eyes are gone, and his face is, what is it? Yeah, I think there's another line where it says that it's like so cut up that she can barely make it out. But it talks about the naked, mutilated body she had, and then just she kind of spirals. But I will point out that they never had sex. So how much of his fully naked body has she actually seen and paid attention to? Elena is saying all of it.
She's
Yeah,
even shirtless.
But his face is unrecognizable in the description. And in her grief, I can see how she would see someone who was very similar to him and through all of the torture not be able to tell that it wasn't actually Sam, especially because his eyes are gone, which are the number
but
one
it
way
says
to tell who someone is.
almost unrecognizable. It doesn't say completely unrecognizable.
So many things have been done to destroy it beyond recognition. And specifically says his eyes were taken out.
The way Jamie's like making faces actually is making me more like
He's
it's
super
giving me hope.
alive. And I don't know. I think the two options are that Sam came into the situation and they had every intention to kill him and he got out. But I think the more likely option is what I said earlier. And it's that they gave him his life back in exchange for him being sworn to Arabin and never contacting Celaena again.
I think Sam is super dead.
Sam's dead.
Especially after I think it's one of the very last scenes, right? When we have that, when Arabin has a conversation with Farron, the guy who tortured Sam, supposedly, right? Where he says the whole reason that Arabin targeted Sam was because Sam had like touched her. He doesn't like people touching his belongings, meaning that Celaena belonged to him, which is gross.
I can read that chapter again and confirm, but I'm fairly certain that at no point does he actually say that he killed Sam.
That is true. Yeah.
He talks
say that. Yeah.
He talks a lot about how fun it would have been to torture Celaena, and they basically talk about like the deal and why he would do this to her. But they don't really discuss Sam. It's just sort of like implied.
I think it would be not just in poor taste, but I don't know, I would feel really bad for Sam if he were to be alive and see that Aelin has moved on and she's with someone else, whoever that person may be.
Yeah.
Wait, I missed it. I was trying to read this.
Yeah, it's a really short. It's a really short chunk, and there's.
Wait, Brooke, are there like other? Is it just the fact that it says it's unrecognizable that makes you think he's not dead? That's a full.
It's that, but it's also the fact that there's nowhere in that description that she has a specific thing that she can say it's definitely him. Like there's no like, but the birthmark on his shoulder, or like, but I would never forget that scar on his shoulder. There's none of that. She just, all she can see is the torture that's been done to him. And then like sadly sleeps with the body for a while. And I don't think it's Sam. I think he's alive. I really do. And I even told you, because you read the story before I did, I was like, Elena, is there a body? If there's a body, he's dead. And as I was reading it, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This guy's not dead. I was wrong.
Like, I want to, like, get on the he's not dead train because I want it so, so badly. Like, just to be clear, like, that is what I want. I love him. I want them to be BFFs. And you're kind of convincing me. I just, like, don't want to, like, jump into it because then I'm going to be sad in Queen of Shadows if we don't find Sam alive.
They'll never be together, I think is the...
No.
But I really enjoy the thought that once Rowan comes to Aderlon with Aelin, he just keeps meeting all of these people that used to love her, and they're like, "Damn, good job, man." And he's just like, "Wow, I really better tie this down." Like,
I do think they'd make better best friends now, and that she would be better off with Rowan. But I think if Sam is alive, it's going to cause like a love triangle for a little bit because he's Celaena's first love. And she's going to be like, oh my gosh, should I be with Sam? And then Rowan's going to show up later because
I
he
cannot
couldn't come
do
right
another
away.
love triangle. We already did that. We're
Well.
moving on.
I just don't see how it wouldn't be if he is alive for at least a little bit. Unless he's moved on. Oh my god, what if he's dating Lysandra now? Oh my god, what if he like didn't go to save her and is like hooking up with Lysandra and then Celaena's just gonna be pissed.
No, I can't see that happening. Meaning that he lives. Like I'm pretty sure he's dead. And it just doesn't make sense to like reintroduce him when she has so much going on. Like one, she's like reobtaining her Fae abilities, she's trying to be queen again, right? Like I'm honestly not trying to like deter you guys. I'm just like saying
Elena,
Sam.
is Jamie trying too hard?
I can't tell if she like actually thinks that or if she's pulling up Micah might be good guys. Like it's possible.
I'm getting some Micah's getting a redemption arc vibes over here.
I think Sam should stay in the past. He is her first love. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I think Sam should stay in the past. I think it's a different statement than Sam is definitely dead. Because I think Sam should stay in the past is in the future there might be problems with him still being alive because like it makes problematic plot things
You
and like isn't as good as it was in
so
Throne of
hard.
All I'm saying is Ereben's definitely dying in this next book, and who better to take over than the man who has been a slave assassin to him for the past few years and will now take over and make it just like the Mute Masters Assassin Guild.
Interesting theory.
Here's the thing. I just don't see a world in which Sam is alive and he doesn't try and go after Celaena or like contact Celaena in any way. Like even if like if it is that like he's trying to like keep her safe and doing whatever I don't think he would be okay with her being an Endovier. Like I just don't see a world in which like he was like, oh, Endovier's better because people don't survive an Endovier. That's not something like people make it through. So I would have thought that he would go and try and save her, thinking of it as a certain death for her.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
So then I just don't know in which situation he would be alive and wouldn't have. Unless like they convinced him that she was dead. Like if they pulled a like double.
Yeah. I don't know, because also Ereben's plan was to rescue her. So, and he like decides not to do that.
Which is sus.
Yeah. So I don't know. Sam might be dead. I have to say, me personally, I don't care either way. And I know that's contentious, but I just thought it was very suspicious that there was not a very definitive, this is definitely his body from the woman who loves him. But there was a very definitive note about the fact that his face was not recognizable. And it's very cut and dry, that sentence.
Could this be that he was tortured so bad?
Oh, no, it was. But it's the fact that there's no way
that
to
was the
actually tell
reason
that it's
why
him.
I was like bawling my eyes because I knew that he died, didn't know the exact details, and the way that it was described, like all that he had to go through while he was still breathing, was what got me.
I also think Sam is too good to let that happen to him.
I don't know. I disagree. Like I feel very strongly that it matters to me whether or not Sam is alive. I hope he is alive, and if he is, I hope it's more of a situation where like he was able to escape the second one as opposed to like having been Ereben's essential like servant for the past 2 years. And I hope he was able to escape and like find the mute assassins and live with them, and just has been cut off from communication. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the only other reason that I have like this gut feeling that he's still alive is because I hated his death scene so much and it was off screen. And to me, his death scene was either really lazy writing, which again, I have a lot of respect for Sarah, so I would like to think it's not that, or it was done off screen for a reason. Because to me, if you're going to kill such an important character and actually kill them, we would be in the room when it happened. To actually have that like gut-wrenching moment where he dies and we didn't get
Yeah.
it.
Another reason too is that like all of the point of views has been Celaena, so that's also something to consider.
Yeah.
But again, like I see where your point is, Brooke, and then we haven't finished the series, so you never know.
Right.
I want Sam to be alive. I very much want him to join the squad. I don't know.
I
still find out
feel like
Queen
I'll be
Shadows.
okay if he really is dead, because I just don't I don't think I could handle with where things are going with Aelin and Rowan, and then he'll just be okay just being like on the sidelines or something while the love of his life is moving on. And
But Jamie, you know. What do you mean?
I
what
also
do they
think
know?
that if Sam is alive, he knows that she went to Endovir, and I think he has probably assumed that she is dead, and has probably moved on himself. And I'm guessing that if he is alive, that it would be a similar situation to Kael, where it would take one scene for them to be like, holy shit, we've been through a lot, and for her to be like, hey, I'm a totally new person, and for him to be like, I am too, and like meet there.
I feel like if he was
No.
I feel like if he was still part of the Assassin's Guild or whatever they're called, that like assuming like Arabin would have known that she got out, so Sam would know too.
I don't
Green
think that
doesn't tell people things.
Yeah, I don't think Arabin
No,
does
but
know
like
that she's out.
I don't know. I think
Arabin
that
knows, but I don't think he's gonna tell people.
Oh.
Because like she's been back to the apartment and stuff. Are we saying that he doesn't have eyes on that apartment just in case?
That's fair.
Jamie, is Sam alive? Queen of Shadows? Does it need to know?
You just have to read Queen of Shadows
I
really
just have to read
fast.
Clear Shadows. Which aren't you guys happy? Now it's next.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. It's already waiting in the next room.
Oh, awesome. Are you guys gonna start soon?
I need to read Crescent City too. I need to
I was
catch
gonna
up.
say, you mean other than reading the other book we're reading right now? Yeah.
Well, we'll come up with a reading plan. Sorry I didn't figure that out beforehand. But
Yes, Sam could still be alive, Celaena. Just hang on to that sticky note and that piece of your heart real tight.
yes. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. See you next time for Queen of Shadows.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.